Hello, welcome to Storytime. It's The Princess and the Pea, Part 2. When the pea was brought to her, the Queen pushed it beneath the bottom mattress. Then she went back downstairs where the Princess and her son were talking intently by the fire. "Where was it you came from?" the Queen asked, and the Princess told them all about her distant homeland. She spoke with great fondness of the people who lived there. "You have come a very long way to find a husband," said the Queen. "Didn't you have any suitors nearer home?" "I did," said the Princess. "The young men I met were all very lovely in their own ways, but none of them was the right prince for me." "I know just what you mean," the Prince agreed, beaming from ear to ear. The Prince and Princess chatted away merrily all evening until finally the Queen said, "It's getting late. It's time we all went to bed." So they said good night, and the Queen showed the girl to the bedroom she'd prepared. When the Princess saw the tall bed that awaited her, she was very surprised. "It looks wonderfully comfortable," she said politely, "but however will I climb into it?" "With a ladder," said the Queen. She nodded to a pair of footmen who rushed away and came back with a long ladder. They set it against the bed and stood to either side. "Good night, Your Majesty." "Thank you again," said the Princess, and she climbed up the ladder to bed. "Good night," said the Queen. In the morning the Queen went to wake the Princess. She drew back the curtains, peered up at the towering mattress, and called, "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" When the Princess's face appeared, looking pale and not at all well rested, the Queen looked strangely pleased. "Come down to breakfast, and we'll talk there," she said, and bustled off. The Princess was the last to arrive at breakfast. She had washed her face and combed her hair, but still looked very sleepy. "Would you like to come for a horse ride with me this morning?" the Prince asked. "I'd love to," the Princess replied, but she couldn't help but stifle a yawn. "You seem very tired," said the Queen. "Now tell me, how did you sleep?" The Princess looked embarrassed. "I don't want to be rude," she said reluctantly, "because you've been so very generous." "Go on," urged the Queen. "I slept terribly," the Princess confessed. "Despite all those soft mattresses, I tossed and turned the whole night long. There seemed to be something small and hard right in the middle of my bed." Everyone was surprised when the Queen's face lit up. "How splendid!" she said. She rang a bell, and a maid hurried in with a velvet cushion in her arms. On top of the cushion was a single pea. "This was the source of your discomfort," said the Queen, "and now I know beyond all doubt that you are a real princess. No other person could be quite so sensitive." "I knew it the moment I saw you," exclaimed the Prince. The King shook his head in bewilderment. "I don't understand. Does this mean we have a wedding to plan or not?" he asked, and everyone laughed. The Prince and the real Princess were married a month later and lived very happily ever after. The pea was placed in the palace museum for all to see. In fact, unless someone has taken it, that's where you'll find it still.